So, you want to get into idlescape. The mechanics can be a bit overwhelming at first, so this guide is intended to help new players get a basic understanding of the fundamentals. To start playing, go to idlescape.com, or if you have the game downloaded on Steam, launch it from there. Plus, play free and enter a username and password. Though email isn't required, I strongly recommend verifying it, as the marketplace is locked behind it, which is where you can buy and sell items with other players. Once you're in the game, you'll be met with 15 different skills near the top of your screen. We can divide these into four categories. There's mining, foraging, and fishing, which are gathering skills which you use to collect items. There's also farming and enchanting, which are more miscellaneous skills. They're too unique to fit into any of the other categories. Next, there's rune crafting, smithing, cooking, and crafting, where you process the items collected from gathering in combat into something more useful. Finally, there's the six combat skills: Constitution, Attack, Defense, Strength, Range, and Magic. All of these involve fighting monsters. I'll explain all these skills in more detail later, but for the time being, I'll bring them up as they become relevant. Before you jump into any specific skill, click on Quests. The first four are very simple, and they just involve some basic menu navigation. To accept a quest, click on it, then press the green Accept button. Once you've completed those first four basic quests, we'll skip past the fifth quest, which requires gold, which you don't have right now, and move on to the sixth, the Gathering tutorial. You can click on a skill to go to it, and press the Mine, Forage, or Fish button to start that gathering action. Starting with mining, you need to mine in Clay Pit. You'll get access to better zones as you level up, but this is the only one you have access to at level 1. Mining is the simplest of the gathering skills. You can hover your mouse over the eye icon on the zone, and it'll show you the specific loot you can receive from it, as well as the chance to find any one specific item. As you mine, you'll gain XP and eventually level up. The higher your level, the faster your action speed. The main loot for mining is ore, which can be smelted and used for many things. Mine until you have at least 10 copper ore and 10 tin ore. We'll be smelting these into bronze bars later. To continue with the quest, just go back to the quest page and click the next button. Now you'll need to do a bit of foraging in grasslands. Foraging is a bit more complicated than mining. While attempting to forage, you'll first search for a node. When you find one, you'll get specific items related to that node. You can get a number of different things depending on the zone, once again shown in the eye icon, just like in mining. Most nodes give specific resources, but sometimes you'll find one with the same name as the foraging location, which will give you mixed materials. Some of the higher zones have a question mark, question mark, question mark as the find chance for certain items. These items can only be found in specific nodes. When foraging, you'll mainly collect seeds, logs, and fully grown crops. Seeds can be planted with the farming skill, and logs can be burned for heat. Select a log, click the amount you want to burn, and press burn for heat. You can see the amount of heat any item will give when burned from the flame icon when you hover your mouse over it. While foraging, you'll eventually get some carrot seeds. Click on the farming skill, then click on the carrot, and then on an empty plot of land. Farming has an extremely slow start, the slowest of any skill in the game, even by idle game standards, so it's better to start planting things early. With only one exception, all the good crops can't be planted until you have a high farming level. I mentioned earlier that farming didn't fit into any of the other skill categories, and that's because it's completely passive. Once you've got your crops planted, they'll grow in the background while you do other skills. Next up is fishing, the most complicated of the gathering skills. Alongside nodes, you also need to worry about bait, real power, and bonus instead of just your level, like in foraging and mining. Your bait number determines your speed and chance of finding a fishing node. Real power acts similarly, but your chance of finding resources once you're inside a node. If you scroll down, you can see your bonus stat, which is the chance to find rare items from a fishing location, especially items whose find chance is a number instead of just a percent chance. Finish the quest by pressing complete, and you'll receive some basic tools alongside some other items. If you hover over a tool, it will show its requirements to equip and stat bonuses. For the bronze pickaxe you just received, it will give you plus 10 to your effective mining level. All that means is that the game acts as if your mining level was 10 higher when determining action speed. A level 2 miner with a bronze pickaxe mines as fast as a level 12 miner without one, for example. You can hover your mouse over a skill to see your effective level. As this pickaxe is the lowest tier of tool, it doesn't have any skill requirements to equip it, but better tools you get in the future will require a minimum level to use. Click on the tool and press equip. Do this for all the other tools you received, and you also received some rune slates, which we'll be using in a moment. With the other items you got from the gathering tutorial, let's move on to the 7th quest, the processing tutorial. It will ask you to turn those gathering materials into more useful items. Crafting is the easiest production skill and is instant. Click to select a category, then click on the item you want to make. Press max to create as many as possible, or enter a specific number if you want more than one. Then press craft and you'll get the item. This is how you get nearly every piece of equipment in the game. Rune crafting is also fairly simple. This is where you turn rune slates into usable runes and fibers into cloth. Runes are important for enchanting and magic, and cloth has many uses. To make runes, you'll need essence, which you'll naturally accumulate while leveling skills, and rune slates. Every skill has a specific kind of essence linked to it, with mining giving earth essence, foraging giving nature essence, fishing giving water essence, and each skill giving their own kind of essence. Each rune requires 400 essence to make in the beginning, so just create whatever you can. This will consume some of the rune slates you got earlier. To make cloth, you'll just need reeds, which you accumulate while fishing. Smithing is a bit more complicated than the other production skills. There are 3 different forges, but right now you only have access to the city forge. You can drag the red bar to increase the intensity of the heat. Higher intensity here means you make metal bars faster, but it comes at the cost of more heat and ore. That's a pretty bad deal, especially in the early game, so I'd recommend keeping the intensity as low as possible for now. On the other forges, which you'll gain access to as you level up, higher intensity does different things, so I'd recommend playing around with it a bit when you get the chance. Finally, you need to do a bit of farming. You'll need to harvest a potato, which you can only plant once you reach level 3 farming. This is part of the reason I said to plant carrot seeds earlier. While you're waiting to reach level 3 farming and waiting for the potatoes to grow, I'd recommend alternating between mining and smithing to make more bronze bars, as well as a bit of foraging if you run low on heat. We'll be doing some combat soon, and those bronze bars will be useful for making equipment. Upon harvesting the potato and completing the quest, you'll get some more tools and some useful items. Among them is fertilizer, which is used to greatly increase the yield from crops. Go into farming and click on a planted crop to bring up its menu. Click on auto fertilize to put fertilizer on any specific crop. While in this menu, I recommend turning on auto harvest and auto plant if they're off. Farming is an extremely passive skill with these on, and will level itself in the background while you do other things if you have enough seeds. Next, accept the 8th quest. The combat tutorial lets you choose between the 3 different weapons for the 3 different combat styles, but you'll only have the materials for bronze daggers right now. Go to crafting and make some. If you need more metal bars, just make some more of those as well. The quest tells you to slay 200 monsters in the farm combat zone. Go to combat and click on equipment, and you'll have the option to select a skill to replace your default melee auto attack. Stab in this case. Skills are almost always better than the default attack. Once you're in farm, it might take a while to get over 200 kills. You'll probably die a lot of times in the process, but you'll gain a lot of strength, attack, defense, and constitution XP. You don't lose anything when you die, you just need to wait 60 seconds to respawn. Strength is your pure damage output for all melee combat. If you're doing range or magic fighting styles, your level in range or magic skill would replace your pure damage output. Attack is your chance to successfully land a hit, defense is your chance to dodge an enemy attack, and constitution is how much health you have. Your strength, magic, and range skills will end up outpacing the rest of your combat skills if you hard focus on a single combat style. I'll be diverging from the quests to explain the last 2 skills. If you click on the cooking icon, you'll be brought to the preparing screen. Press select all to select all the materials you can prepare, and then press start. What we're doing here is turning meat, fruit, and vegetables into prepared ingredients you can use to cook. Once you've prepared all the ingredients you can, click on the Cooking tab. Select whatever recipe you can make and press Start to begin cooking. Like with smithing, you need heat to cook, so you might need to go back to foraging if you're running low on heat. Once you've finished cooking, click on the Finished Food. Drag the slider to the max and click on the Add to Combat Inventory button. Now you'll automatically eat this food if your HP gets low in combat. You can check how much food you have by going back to combat and clicking on the Inventory button. I've covered 14 of the 15 skills now. At the time I'm making this, the last skill, Enchanting, is still in the midst of a rework. Once that's finished, I'll create a follow-up video exploring it. For all skills, if you hover your mouse next to the eye next to any skill name, you can find a more detailed guide for it. From this point, if you're playing an Iron Man character, there isn't a specific direction you need to go. You keep following along with the quests, max out skills, or just do whatever you feel is fun. If you're playing on the main league, though, click on your money bag to go to the marketplace. The marketplace gives players access to nearly every item in the game. Here you can sell your items for gold to other players, or you could buy items for gold. If you're looking for a specific item, you can search for it in the search bar. The marketplace is, by far, your most useful tool if you have access to it. I would also recommend checking out idlescape.wiki, linked in the description. It has info on nearly everything in the game, and goes into far more detail than I ever could in this guide. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Hope you enjoy the game.